Cecily Cardew? What a very sweet name. Something tells me we are going to be great friends. I like you already more than I can say. My first and I may call you Cecily, may I not?
With pleasure.
And you'll always call me Gwendolyn, won't you?
If you wish.
Then that is all quite settled, is it not?
I hope so.
Perhaps now would be a favourable opportunity for my mentioning who I am. My father is Lord Bracknell. You have never heard of Papa, I suppose?
I don't think so.
Outside the family circle, Papa, I am glad to say, is entirely unknown. I think that is quite as it should be. The home seems to me to be the proper sphere for the man. And certainly, once a man begins to neglect domestic duties, he becomes painfully effeminate, does he not? And I don't like that. It makes men so very attractive. Cecily, Mamma, whose views on education are remarkably strict, has brought me up to be extremely short-sighted. It is part of her system. So, would you mind my looking at you through my glasses?
Of course not, Gwendolyn. I adore being looked at.
You are here on a short visit, I suppose?
Oh no, I live here.
Really? Your mother, no doubt, or some female companion of advanced years resides here also.
Oh no, I have no mother, nor in fact any relations.
Indeed.
My dear guardian, with the assistance of Miss Prism, have the arduous task of looking after me.
Your guardian?
Yes, I am Mr. Worthing's ward.
Oh, it is strange he never mentioned to me that he had a ward. How secretive of him. He grows more interesting hourly. I am not sure, however, that the news inspires me with feelings of unmixed delight. I am very fond of you, Cecily. I've liked you ever since I met you. But I feel bound to state that now that I know you are Mr. Worthing's ward, I cannot help expressing a wish that you were, well, just a little older than you seem to be, and not quite so very alluring in appearance. In fact, if I may speak candidly...
Pray do, Gwendolyn. I think that when anybody has anything unpleasant to say, one should always be very candid.
Well, to speak with perfect candour, Cecily, I wish that you were fully 42, and more than usually plain for your age. Earnest has a strong, upright nature. He is the very soul of truth and honour. Disloyalty would be as impossible to him as deception. But even men of the noblest possible moral character are extremely susceptible to the influence of the physical charms of others. Modern, no less than ancient history, supplies us with many most painful examples of what I refer to. Indeed, if it were not so, history would be quite unreadable.
I beg your pardon, Gwendolyn. But did you say Earnest?
Yes.
But it is not Mr. Earnest Worthing who is my guardian. It is his brother, his elder brother.
Ernest never mentioned to me that he had a brother.
I am sorry to say that they have not been on good terms for a long time.
Oh, that accounts for it. And now that I think of it, I've never heard any man mention his brother. The subject seems distasteful to most men. Cecily, you have lifted a load from my mind. I was growing almost anxious. It would have been terrible if any cloud had come across a friendship like ours, would it not? Of course, you are quite sure that it's not Mr. Earnest Worthing who is your guardian?
Quite sure. In fact, I am to be his.
I beg your pardon.
Dearest Gwendolyn, I see no reason for me to make a secret of it to you. Our little county newspaper is sure to chronicle the fact next week. But Mr. Earnest Worthing and I are engaged to be married.
My dear Cecily, I think there must be some slight error. Mr. Earnest Worthing is engaged to me. The announcement will appear in the Morning Post by Saturday at the latest.
I fear, Miss Fairfax, you must be under some misconception. Earnest proposed to me exactly 10 minutes ago.
It is certainly very curious, for he asked me to be his wife yesterday afternoon at 5:30. If you would care to verify the incident, pray do so. I never travel without my diary. One must always have something sensational to read upon the train. I am so sorry, dear Cecily, if it is any disappointment to you, but I'm afraid I have the prior claim.
It would distress me more than I can say, dearest Gwendolyn, if it caused you any physical or mental anguish. But I feel bound to point out that since proposed to you, he has clearly changed his mind.
If the poor fellow has been entrapped into any foolish promise, I shall consider it my duty to rescue him at once and with a firm hand.
Whatever unfortunate entanglement my dear boy has got into, I shall never approach him with it after we are married.
Do you allude to me, Miss Cardew, as an entanglement? You are presumptuous! On an occasion of this kind, it becomes more than a moral duty to speak one's mind. It becomes a pleasure!
Do you suggest, Miss Fairfax, that I entrapped Ernest into an engagement? How dare you? This is no time to be wearing the shallow mask of manners. When I see a spade, I call it a spade.
I am glad to say I have never seen a spade. It is obvious our social spheres have been widely different.
Shall I lay tea here as usual, miss?
Yes, as usual.
Are there many interesting walks in the vicinity, Miss Cardew?
Oh yes, a great many. From one at the top of the hills quite close, one can see 5 counties.
5 counties? Oh, I don't think I should like that. I hate crowds.
I suppose that is why you live in town.
Quite a well-kept garden you have here, Miss Cardew.
So glad you like it, Miss Fairfax.
I had no idea there were any flowers in the country.
Oh, flowers here are as common as people in London.
Personally, I cannot understand how anybody manages to exist in the country. If anybody who is anybody does. The country always bores me to death.
That is what they call an agricultural depression, is it not? I hear the rich are suffering quite badly from it at present. It is much the epidemic among them, I am told. May I offer you some tea, Miss Fairfax?
Thank you. Detestable girl, but I require tea.
Oh. Sugar?
No, thank you. Sugar is not fashionable anymore. Rarely seen in the best houses nowadays.
Yes, yes. Hand that to Miss Fairfax. Fairfax.
Of sugar, and though I asked most distinctly for bread and butter, you have given me cake. I am known for the gentleness of my disposition and the extraordinary sweetness of my nature, but I warn you, Miss Cardew, you may go too far.
To save my poor, innocent, trusting boy from the machinations of any other girl, there are no lengths to which I would not go.
From the moment I saw you, I distrusted you. I felt you are false and deceitful. My first impressions of people are invariably right.
It seems to me, Miss Fairfax, that I am trespassing on your valuable time. No doubt you have many other girls of a similar character to make throughout the neighborhood.
To dear little Cecily? Of course not. What could have put such an idea into your pretty little head?
Thank you. You may.
I felt there was some misconception, Miss Fairfax. The gentleman whose arm is present around your waist is my guardian, Mr. John Worthing.
I beg your pardon.
This is Uncle Jack.
Jack! Oh!
Here is Ernest.
Cecily, my own one.
A moment, Ernest. May I ask you, are you engaged to be married to this young lady here?
To which young lady? To... Good heavens, Gwendolyn?
Yes, to good heavens, Gwendolyn. I mean to Gwendolyn.
No, of course not. We could have put such a silly idea into your pretty little head.
Thank you. You may.
I felt there was some slight error, Miss Cardew. The gentleman who is currently embracing you is my cousin, Mr. Algernon Moncrief.
Algernon Moncrief? Oh! Are you really called Algernon?
Yes, I can't deny it.
Is your name really John?
I could deny it if I liked. I could deny anything if I liked. But yes, my name is John. It has been John for years.
A gross deception has been practiced upon both of us.
My poor wounded Cecily.
My sweet wronged Gwendolyn.
You will call me sister, will you not?
Yes, there is just one question I would be allowed to ask my guardian.
An admirable idea. Mr. Worthing, there's just one question I would like to be permitted to put to you. Where is your brother Ernest? We are both engaged to be married to your brother Ernest. Therefore, it is of some importance to us to know where your brother Ernest is at present.
Gwendolyn. Cecily. It is a very painful thing for me to be forced to speak the truth. It is the first time in my life I have ever been reduced to such a painful position. However, I will tell you, quite frankly, that I have no brother Ernest. That I have never had a brother, and that I don't intend to have a brother in the future.
No brother at all?
None.
Oh, have you never had a brother of any kind?
Not even of a kind.
Oh, it seems to me, dear Cecily, that neither of us is engaged to be married to anyone.
It is not a very pleasant position for a young girl to suddenly find herself in, is it?
No. Let us go into the house. They will hardly venture to follow us in there.
No, men are so cowardly, aren't they?
This ghastly state of things is what you call bunburying, I suppose.
Yes, it is. And what a wonderful Bunbury it is, too. The most wonderful Bunbury I've ever had in my entire life.
Well, you have no right whatsoever to Bunbury here.
Oh, that's absurd. One has the right to Bunbury wherever he wishes. Every serious Bunburyist knows that.
Serious Bunburyist? Good heavens.
Yes, well, one must be serious about something in life if he is to have any enjoyment at all. I happen to be serious about Bunbury. What are you serious about? I haven't the most remote idea. Everything I should fancy. You have such an absolutely trivial nature.
Well, the only small satisfaction I have in the whole of this wretched business is that your friend Bunbury is quite exploded. You won't be able to run down to the country quite so often as you used to, dear Algy, and a very good thing too.
Your dear brother is a little off colour, isn't he, Jack?
Yes.
Yes. Looks like you won't be able to duck off to London quite so frequently as your wicked custom was. Not a bad thing at all.
As for your conduct toward Miss Cardew, I must say, you're taking in a sweet, simple, innocent girl like that quite inexcusable, to say nothing of the fact that she is my ward.
I can see no possible defence for you deceiving a brilliant, thoroughly experienced, clever young lady like Miss Fairfax, knowing full well that she was my cousin.
I wanted to be engaged to Gwendolyn. I love her.
I simply wanted to be engaged to Cecily. I adore her.
There is certainly no chance of your marrying Miss Cardew.
Well, I don't see much likelihood, Jack, of you and Miss Fairfax ever being united.
Well, that is certainly no business of yours.
Yes, and if it were my business, I wouldn't speak about it. It's so vulgar to speak about one's business. Only people like stockbrokers do that, and then only at dinner parties.
How you can sit there, calmly eating muffins, when we are in this terrible trouble, I can't make out. You seem to me to be perfectly heartless.
Yes, well, I couldn't possibly eat muffins in an agitated manner. No, the butter would probably get all over my cuffs. When one is eating muffins, one must eat them calmly. That is the only way to eat them.
I say it's perfectly harmless you're eating them at all under the circumstances.
When I am in trouble, eating is the only thing that consoles me. Just like when I am in really great trouble, like anyone who knows me intimately will tell you. I refuse everything but food and drink. At the present moment, I am eating because I am upset. Besides, I am particularly fond of muffins.
Well, that is no reason for you to eat them all in that greedy way.
Please, have some tea cake. I don't much like tea cake.
Good heavens. I suppose a man may eat his own muffins in his own garden.
But you just said it was perfectly heartless eating muffins at all.
I said it was perfectly heartless of you under the circumstances. That is a very different thing.
Yes, but the muffins remain the same.
Algy, I wish to goodness you would go.
You can't possibly ask me to leave without having some dinner first. I never go without my dinner. Nobody ever does, except for vegetarians and that lot. Besides, I've just made arrangements with Dr. Chasuble to be christened at 5:45 under the name of Earnest.
My dear fellow, the sooner you give up that nonsense, the better. I myself have made arrangements with Dr. Chasuble this morning to be christened at 5:30, and I will naturally take the name of Earnest. Gwendolyn would wish it. We can't both be christened Earnest. It's absurd. Besides, I have a perfect right to be christened if I like. There is no evidence at all that I've ever been christened by anybody. I should think it extremely probable I never was. Dr. Chasuble agrees. It is entirely different in your case. You have been christened already.
Yes, but I haven't been christened in years.
Yes, but you have been christened. That is the important thing.
Quite so I know my constitution can stand it. But I say, you going out and venturing not knowing if you have or have not been christened, well, it could make you quite ill. You can hardly have forgotten that just this week, someone in Paris was almost carried off by a severe chill.
Yes, but you yourself said a severe chill isn't hereditary.
I know I did. It wasn't, but I dare say it is now. Science is always making wonderful improvements in these things.
Oh, that is nonsense. You are always talking nonsense.
Jack, you're at the muffins again. I told you I was particularly fond of muffins.
But I hate tea cake.
Then why on earth do you serve tea cake for your guests? What ideas you have of hospitality.
Algernon, I have already told you to go. I don't want you here. Why don't you go?
Well, I haven't quite finished my tea yet, and there's still a muffin left.
The fact that they did not follow us at once into the house as anyone else would have done seems to me to show that they have some sense of shame left.
They have been eating muffins. That looks like repentance.
They don't seem to notice us at all. Couldn't you cough?
But I don't have a cough.
They're looking at us. What effrontery!
They're approaching. That's very forward of them.
Let us preserve a dignified silence.
Certainly. It is the only thing to do now.
Please.
Thank you.
This dignified silence seems to produce an unpleasant effect.
A most distasteful one.
But we shall not be the first to speak.
Certainly not.
Mr. Worthing, I have something very particular to ask you. Much depends on your reply.
Gwendolyn, your common sense is invaluable. Mr. Moncrief, kindly answer me the following question. Why did you pretend to be my guardian's brother?
So that I might have a chance in meeting you.
Well, that certainly seems like a satisfactory explanation. Does it not?
Yes, dear, if you can believe him.
I don't. But that does not change the wonderful beauty of his answer.
True, in matters of great importance, style, not sincerity, is the vital thing. Mr. Worthing, what explanation can you offer to me for having pretended to have a brother? Was it in order that you might have the opportunity of coming to town as often as possible to see me?
Can you doubt it, Miss Fairfax?
I have the gravest doubts on the subject. but I intend to crush them. Now is not the time for German skepticism. Their explanations appear quite satisfactory, especially Mr. Worthing's. That seems to me to have the stamp of truth upon it.
I am more than content with what Mr. Moncrief has told me. His voice alone inspires one with absolute credulity.
Then you think we should forgive them?
Yes. I mean, no.
True. I had forgotten. There are principles at stake that one cannot surrender. But which of us should tell them? The task is not a pleasant one.
Could we both not speak at the same time?
An excellent idea. I nearly always speak at the same time as other people. Will you take the time from me?
Certainly.
Your Christian names are still an insuperable barrier, that is all.
Our Christian names? Is that all? But we're going to be christened this afternoon.
We're going to be christened this afternoon. We're going to be christened this afternoon. We're going to be christened this afternoon. Yes, we're going to be christened this afternoon.
For my sake, you are prepared to do this terrible thing.
I am.
You are prepared to face this fearful ordeal for me?
Why, yes. Yes, I am.
How absurd to talk of the equality of the sexes. Where questions of self-sacrifice are concerned, men are infinitely beyond us.
We are.
They have moments of physical courage, of which we women know absolutely nothing.
We're going to be christened this afternoon. We're going to be christened this afternoon. We're going to be christened this afternoon.
Darling!